Hello and welcome back to Deserts and Gardens podcast. I'm Nathan here with my beautiful wife Mia.
Hi! If you're new here, on this podcast, we share our daily highs and lows. This is not by any means a highlight reel, but where we share the realities of navigating marriage, faith, and our life together with God's guidance every step of the way.
Absolutely. Today's episode's a real good one. We're going to be talking about the importance of community and what that looks like is whether you're single, you're married, or you're just building a family. You need people around you who are going to point you back to Christ.
Yeah, so here is how we're going to be breaking it down like we do, 3 sections. First, we'll talk about why you need a community before marriage. Then we'll move into talking about how community helps you in marriage. And lastly, we'll wrap it up and talk about what community looks like when you are raising kids or expanding your family.
Yeah, so let's dive in.
All right, well, we can start off with if you're single and listening, you are not meant to do life alone, period. And I don't just mean romantically, I mean friendships, mentorships, accountability partners, support groups, Bible studies. You should be in some sort of community.
Right. And I think we're all kind of looking for that, Proverbs 27 kind of friendship, that whole, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another.
Right.
Like, we need people around us who aren't going to be afraid to call us to a higher purpose.
Yeah, and I mean, community helps you with purity too, especially in those single seasons, because, I mean, let's be real. It is way harder to fight sexual temptation when you are isolated and you don't have any trusted friends who can check in and pray with you or encourage you, and you kind of just are, on your own little island.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, back when I was single, I really wish I had a group of guys like I could text them like, hey, like, I'm struggling right now. Like, I don't need judgment. I just need prayer. Like, maybe a meme or, sometimes I just need something really blunt. Like, yo, come out, do something.
Right.
Like, go work out. Like, or, hey, get up and read your Bible. Go read Romans 6.
No, seriously. Like, we love a direct friend that's going to just call you up and call you out. And, what you practice in singleness, whether that's accountability, vulnerability, seeking wise counsel, that all of those habits will carry into your marriage.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of marriage, like, let me say something that took me a while to learn, Your spouse cannot be your everything.
Right, we talked about that back on episode 11.
Yeah, and like, we need other people. Like, marriage is beautiful, but it's not designed to carry the weight of every need you have. Galatians 6 says, carry each other's burdens, in this way you fulfill the law of Christ. That's a plural, each other, not just husband and wife.
Right, I mean, for wives specifically, sometimes we just need to sit on someone's couch, cry, vent, eat some snacks that we didn't have to make ourselves. I mean, like, community is God's gift to lighten the load.
Yeah, absolutely. And, sometimes we also need that couple who's been married for, 20, 30 years to say, hey, you're not crazy. This part is just hard.
Right. Like that wise counsel to speak into the situation you're in, especially when you're feeling isolated. I mean, one of my favorite parts about community is it just reminds me that our story isn't isolated. Like, we're not the only ones going through this. There are people who are before us, and then there are people who will walk, behind us that we can then turn around to and give a hand. Like, other people have walked through this, and God has shown up for them. And that's where, you get hope in what could feel like a hopeless situation.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the fact that, we're never truly alone. Like you're saying, like, there are people around us, the community around us, they've been here before. They've experienced this, and they can give you wise counsel.
Yeah.
But, that leads us perfectly into our last section on family.
Right, because, I mean, we're having a baby, so the topic has been very high on our list of things that we've been talking about lately. I mean, we've just started thinking, like, who's going to be in our corner? Like, are we doing godparents? If something were to happen to us, who are we designating as the caregiver of our child? Like, just lots of conversations lately about raising our children and what that'll look like, who will be around. Just a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot to think of. We've already kind of been looking around and observing. Like, who's really helpful? Like, who can offer wisdom to us and, or just lend a hand? And, some people we're just looking for them to come over and say, like, hey, you're doing great.
Yeah.
We're really kind of...
Come over and cook me dinner.
Right, yeah, exactly. We'll never complain about that.
Never, ever.
But what we're looking for is, like, that Titus 2 kind of community, like older teaching the younger, families walking together.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and let's be honest, like, community protects your peace, especially when you're parenting. I mean, we were just talking about how back in the day, it was so much more common for kids to go to their grandparents' house, and how, multi generations were just so much more connected, because it does take a village, whether, like I said, it's someone dropping off a meal or reminding you not to lose joy over nap time chaos. Like, it matters. And like, it is a lot harder today, because I feel like families are so broken and isolated, and people don't have villages like they used to.
Yeah, I mean, we're broken, we're isolated, we're distracted by everything going on.
Right.
Like, Hebrews 10 says, like, let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, but
That's
encouraging
good.
one another. That's what we all need. Like,
Right.
we need encouragement, especially in the parenting trenches.
Yeah, encouragement and the meeting together. I feel like people now are so much more inclined to just FaceTime or send a text, or
Just react to your text with a heart.
yeah, I think it is a lot less common that people have dinners and invite people over and are like, hey, like, my mom just invited us over for dinner. And
Aw.
I just feel like it is less common that people are willing to open their home on a weekly basis. Hey,
Yeah.
come over and have dinner. Hey, come over, watch a movie. Hey, come play a game. Like, I just think it's kind of like a dying art. But
Right, and we're not the only ones noticing. Like, this actually reminds me of, like, this comedian stand-up I saw not too long ago. But it was basically this guy comparing, like, his childhood, like, his father welcoming people in the house, like, a random knock on the door around dinner time, like, oh, who is it?
Yeah.
Go to the door, and, like, they invite the people in, like, oh, let me show you my house, like, come sit down, share a plate with us. Nowadays, someone knocks on the door, and, like, you dive under the couch, and you hide, and it's like, we've lost that.
right.
And we need to get that back.
Yeah. So whether you're in a small group or just a group chat, or you're doing dinner regularly, Bible studies with another family, don't wait until you're in the thick of it to build your village. But if you are in the thick of it, it's also not too late to build that village. So it'll bless you so much more than you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know what kind of community you guys have found helpful in your season. Drop a comment if you're on YouTube. Leave us a review if you're on Apple Podcasts. And be sure to hit the follow so you don't miss the next episode.
Right. And if this encouraged you, share it with a friend who might need that reminder that they do not have to do life alone.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for listening to the Deserts and Garden Podcast. Until next time, walk in love.
Live with purpose
And trust God in every desert and garden.
See ya.